How's it going, everyone? Mask here, back with another Knights Chronicle video. Now today we're hanging out with our new friend Amon. Prophet Amon to be exact. Let's go over his skills, talents, and suggested rune builds. But before we get into that action, let me show you how you guys can save a ton of money next time you go to buy crystals in Knights Chronicle by checking out GameFlip. GameFlip has Google Play gift cards for 5, 10, up to 20% off face value. iTunes gift cards for 10, 11, even 12% off face value. This is basically free money. It's a great place to get Steam games at an extremely cheap price, and all of your purchases are backed up by the GameFlip guarantee. Check out the link in the top of the description. It'll take you to GameFlip, and you can save some money on your next in-game purchase. All right. Now to get down to business, we got Amon. Let's take a look at his kit. Now, for starters, he's got the strongest light attack increasing leader skill in the game. Quite a weird thing to be on a defensive character. That was the first thing I said about him. That is a very strange leader skill. We see the same leader skill on Morgan for fire, but Morgan's an attack hero. It makes a lot more sense. So to have your light team pumping out the most damage possible, you're going to want to have Amon on the team. Now, there's another very good reason for him to have this kind of leader skill, and I'm sure we'll get to that. Now, his passive, actually here it is right here. His passive, Revelation Signet, increases the caster's evasion by 40% and accuracy by 40%, meaning Amon has 40% bonus evasion and accuracy, which is nuts. And it increases damage dealt by all allies by 30% when the caster is imprinted with Revelation Signet. Now, I'll jump right to his skill 1. His skill 1 is a taunt that does up to 160% of attack to one enemy with a 65% chance to taunt the enemy for 1 turn if it's level 5 or lower, 2 turns if it's level 6, and a 100% chance at all levels to imprint Amon with Revelation Signet for 1 turn. When he has that Revelation Signet, he's boosting all of the heroes on your team damage dealt by 30%. And that is damage dealt, not attack. Damage dealt is a modifier at the end of all of your skill damage modifiers. So anyone with a max level 6 skill 3 single target DPS does something like 460 to 480% of their attack. Damage dealt multipliers is going to multiply that, which is absolutely insane. So now he's pumping your light hero's attack by 40% and then giving him a 30% damage boost. Let's jump into his level 60 passive. Has a high chance for the caster's turn to come more quickly at the start of the wave. So Amon has a high chance to go first, regardless of his speed. And activates Resolve for an ally for 1 turn if they take fatal damage, and restores their HP by 50%, and increases their attack by 50% for 2 turns. So now, let's say your strongest glass cannon DPS on your team dies. Amon stops them from dying, heals them by 50%, gives them a 50% attack boost because his 40% attack boost from his leader skill wasn't enough, and the 30% damage boost from Revelation Signet is going to stack on top of that. Absolutely insane. We've already taken a look at skill 1, gives him that guaranteed Revelation Signet. Now skill 2, Sign of Destruction, probably one of his craziest skills as well. It does damage equal to 80% of attack to all enemies at level 1 with a 40% chance to taunt the target. Now, target either means the character you actually have clicked on while using this skill, but that doesn't make any sense to me. Reading this correctly, this looks like he has a 40% chance to taunt every one of the enemies for 2 turns, and a 100% chance to grant all allies guaranteed counterattack 1 time for 2 turns. 100% chance to imprint the caster with Revelation Signet again, so he's going to be giving your team that 30% attack boost every time he uses skill 2, every time he uses skill 1, and let's not forget, skill 1 is used on Counter-Strike, on Multi-Strike. Starting to see some crazy combos here. Now we have Draen's Judgment. Inflicts penetration damage equal to 288% of attack to one enemy. This is at level 6. And casts an Engraving of Destruction for 3 turns. Inflicts damage equal to 288% of attack to the 2 enemies adjacent to the target with an 80% chance to cast an Engraving of Destruction for 3 turns. This is 2 turns at level 5 or less, keep in mind. Now, Engraving of Destruction inflicts damage equal to 100% of max HP when skill 3 is used. So you basically lock your opponent out of using their skill 3. Now, the neat part about this is I highly doubt enemy computer controlled players are smart enough to not use their skill 3 and not fall prey to Draen's Judgment. So we have Amon disabling skill 3 on our opponents, buffing our own team, our own allies' damage anywhere from 40% from the leader skill, 30% damage boost from his passive Revelation Signet, and not forget 50% attack boost whilst preventing them from dying. We have one of the craziest supporting characters we've seen in this game, while also being a ridiculously tanky tank with extremely high taunt percentages. This skill too has a 70% chance to taunt on a AoE full team attack. Not to mention 40% evade. It doesn't even make sense. Now, don't forget, it does say when the caster is imprinted with Revelation Signet. So it's not permanent, but every time he uses skill 2, every time he uses skill 1, every counterattack, every multi-strike, it's putting this back on him. That brings us to the next category, runes. Now, I haven't put any runes on him yet. I should have. That does not matter. I have went through the top 50, every single person in the top 50 of PvP, and looked at every different set of runes that they've put on Amon, and they all look the same. There is no question about it. 4 rune of protection, 2 rune of life. That is literally, out of the 20 Amons I looked at, 19 of them were set up like that. Get them extra life, get them extra defense. Tank them up. Now let's talk about rune substats though. So in slot 1, our options are attack speed, crit strike chance, crit damage, HP increase, and accuracy. Pretty well undefeated consensus. Now in PvP, you're looking at attack speed, HP increase. Attack speed still automatically takes priority just because attack speed is so important in PvP. You getting to go before your opponent, you're making stuff happen, you're winning. Amon does have a nice passive, but you're still going to want him to be quick after that turn 1. Attack speed, HP. Slot 2, attack speed, HP. The rest of it, we don't need crit strike chance damage, don't need accuracy. 40% accuracy boost already. In slot 3, this is where it gets a little different. A lot of people say, you know what, Amon with 6 purple stars, he's tanky enough already. I've been seeing a ton of multi-strike, counterattack, and HP. Actually, counterattack, number 1, HP, number 2 priority, multi-strike, number 3 priority. That's been the general consensus in the runes for slot 3. Sorry. Now for slot 4, there's no more HP left. People have been focusing counterattack number 1 in slot 4, attack number 2. You can always use more attack, and then I've seen multi-strike and evasion sort of come in as the focus underneath those. But the counterattack is super crazy. You have this tank taunting multiple enemies, taunting half an enemy team. That him being able to counterattack constantly, boom, counterattack, boom, counterattack. Revelation Signet is up all the time if you get this guy's counterattack through the roof. By the way, that 1 of 20 that was not set up, double rune of life, triple rune of protection, that's because they were on counterattack runes to take advantage of this exact thing we're talking about right now. But you can get so much counterattack from the substats, I hardly think it's worth it. Coming into slot 5, evasion, attack, counterattack, HP recovery, accuracy. Once again, full focus on counterattack here. Evasion is really nice to have too. You never truly turn down more evasion, but just having counterattack up alone is pumping that evasion stat to a very great spot. And moving into slot 6, you got attack speed. That's number 1. PvP, automatically attack speed owns PvP. Then we have attack, crit strike chance, crit damage, multi-strike. Attack speed number 1, multi-strike number 2, attack number 3. We don't really need Amon to be critting. So, attack speed, multi-strike, attack. Boom. There's your runes on Amon. Runes on Amon. And you get him set up nice. He's going to be carrying you through. Every single person has him on their team in PvP right now. I know that's usually it's a little bit of a hype train this early, but you've seen what I just talked about. He's supplying your team with so much damage that technically himself is one of your biggest damage dealers in PvP. Wrapping your head around that concept is actually nuts. He's a tank, technically going to be responsible for basically arguably the most damage on your PvP team. Try to explain that to me. If we jump out of the rune section, let's jump into Amon's talents real quick. So going through the talent tree, we have 50% chance to taunt one enemy for 2 turns when using skill 3. No thanks. He's got a lot of taunts going on. We don't need we don't need to take less elemental damage. Definitely going for a bonus 20% armor on Amon. Coming into the 52 tree, we have a 50% chance to reflect damage for 2 turns when using skill 2. I'm always like, skill 2, cooldown, no thanks. And then we're looking at Kiai, if I can remember remember the comment section fixing me up on this one. Kiai and Gladiator's Technique. This is once again where you have to ask yourself, where are you going to be using Amon? Only you can really answer that question. Is this your main tank? Do you not have another great tank? Because Amon's going to be fantastic for PvE content and PvP, all the same. If you're focusing on PvE, back up to my rune section real quick, scratch off all those attack speed stats, bump everything up. That's what you should be focusing on for PvE. And you should be picking up Kiai. If this is your PvP tank extraordinaire, obviously you're running Gladiator's Technique here. Moving down to the 54 slot, 50% chance to decrease one enemy's attack by 30% when using skill 1. We're beefing him up with counterattack. We're beefing him up with multi-strike. He's going to be skill 1ing like a madman. This is a fantastic skill to have. We don't need Amon to do more damage. He's already making the rest of your team do so much damage. His damage is covered. We don't need to expect any more from him. So you're definitely going to run suppression, get that maxed out, and I would say more often than once, a full team turn rotation, he'll be getting this debuff off. Now, coming down to the 56 talent, we once again see increased damage. And then your typical Comrades in Arms tank skill, 20% chance to grant protection to one ally for 1 turn when attacked. This is fantastic. This is clutch. This is what you're going to be running on Amon in your 56 talent tree. Moving on to 58, we have 10% chance to grant damage immunity for 2 turns when attacked. Amon's going to be taunting 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, maybe have the full team of 5 people taunted. This skill is going to proc, and it's going to proc often. And what do we need critical strike chance for? We don't. The only thing we got to choose from here is 15% counterattack chance increase. That is really good on Amon. But 10% chance to grant damage immunity for 2 turns when attacked. I'm actually a little torn here. I think that you run Supreme Shield if you have some super fantastic runes. The better your runes are, the less you're going to need to depend on this 15% counterattack to really get that counterattack stat relevant, and the easier you can feel comfortable running Supreme Shield. But Supreme Shield is just so crazy. When you get that damage immunity for 2 turns, and your opponent doesn't have a way of removing that buff, that is just insane amount of survivability. But really letting his kit shine requires him to be constantly using that skill 1, which you need counterattack for. So check out your counterattack stat, see if it's in that higher than 40% range. Just you need to be honest with yourself. Do you feel like you need this counterattack boost? Then you might want to go for that on your 58. Level we've went over his level 60 passive already, and I think that definitely takes us to the end of our in-depth Amon review. We have undoubtedly the strongest, most impactful tank in the game so far, coming in with just as many taunts, more taunts actually. Yeah, more taunts, higher taunt percentages, and just this array of buffs that he hands out to his team that is just nuts. When mathematically, he is going to be responsible for the most amount of damage output on your entire team, while probably having 18 to 20,000 attack and like 4,500 plus defense. Nuts. Well, thanks for checking this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know how your Amon is going in the comments down below, or maybe you haven't managed to pull him yet. Tell me about it. I'd love to hear it. Thanks again to GameFlip for sponsoring this video. You guys should check it out in the top of the description. There's a link there. Go check out GameFlip. You can save a ton of money on any of your in-game purchases. They got Google Play gift cards, iTunes gift cards for less than face value. 10-20% off. Basically free money. You also have my Facebook and my Twitter down there in the description down below. Grab those. Follow me on social media. That's how you're going to know when we're going live or when new content's coming out, as well as a link to join my Discord. Please come join my Discord. We are so close to hitting 3,000 members. We have a huge, awesome family growing there. It's discord.gg/masktv. You'll see it in the description down below. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I always appreciate the support. Smash that subscribe button and stay classy.